It's another day as a Danish electrician, and today we have this apprentice with me. And he was in a very good mood because he just got this brand new tool bag, and I was like, should I swap mine for his? Because, I mean, he's the apprentice. Just before I decided, he said that he had chocolate for me. An apprentice coming with chocolate. I gave him the tool bag, and the first customer would like this light to be put up and also some lighting underneath this cabinet. While I started measuring, the apprentice switched out this plug over here. For some reason, the old plug had a defect where you couldn't put anything all the way inside, so yep, we simply fixed it and we put a new one up, and you can see here the new one works just as it's meant to. These lights here are meant to be put on the outside of the cabinet, meaning everything will be visible. So we better do a good job, and therefore I gave the apprentice the chance to play a little bit around with it all. I explained how he should do everything, and while he was working, I started putting up some of the other lights. The best news you can hear when you're an electrician putting up lights is when the customer says, just let the wire flow into the outlet. Meaning it didn't take long before the first and the second light was up and working. I then got the message that the apprentice was done, and let's look at his work. I mean, first of all the lights are working, so I must have done a good job explaining to him how he should do it. The reason we have so much going on is this here is the outlet. This is where we get the power for the lights, and from here we run a 230 volt cable all the way over to this black box. This here is the driver. The driver changes the power from 230 volts to low power voltage, meaning from here we can power up the 3 individual lights. So that's a little bit of why we have all of this going on underneath the cabinet. It may look crazy, but as soon as you stand up, you can barely see anything is happening. With that being said, I put up the third light, and as the customer was an elderly woman, she asked rather I could take the shower head holder and move it a little bit further down because it was simply out of her reach. I said, lady, I'm an electrician. Of course I can. So I grabbed my bad boy, pushed it a little bit on the back side, and with that we had 2 markings on the tiles. From there on, I simply just drilled the tiles, put up the shower head holder, and look at that. The apprentice then screamed, I'm done. He was of course referring to him putting lights up. And while I filled out the documents for the customer, the apprentice was full on playing around with his new tool bag. I mean, just look how excited he is. He's like taking pictures and everything. Oh, I remember when I was this young and innocent 2 years ago. Either way, I've been over at this job site a few times to fix the lights, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's done. All 15 new lights are up and working. And the final customer said that this light was no longer working. It had been flashing a little bit, so I made sure that the power was working, and it was. It was quite simply the old bulb that just needed to be changed. Now the customer thought it was an LED thing, and therefore she had actually bought a brand new light, but I was like, no, we don't need to do that. We can just put a new bulb in. And then we asked the customer rather we should check her RCD. Customer said, yes, please do check the RCD. So the apprentice got his chance to play a little bit around with the measuring equipment, and he put the probes right where he needed to. With that, we could measure that everything was working, and it was A-okay.